Wow. All right, guys. It's great to be here today. We'll get rid of the tunes. It is good to be here today. We have some very surprising news. I'll be honest, I never would have expected that this would have happened. To be honest, I never would have expected. And once again, my audio has given me some grief here. I swear it's like the bane of my existence here. Let's see if we can figure this out. All right. Yes. So thanks so much for joining. Let's get the audio sorted out. We have a new minister today. And our new minister right here, I think everybody, if you have not heard her name, you will for sure, at least over the next little bit, Rachel Bendayan. And yeah, unfortunately, this guy's out. So, and it's interesting too, when you go and you look and see what became of Marc Miller, he is nowhere to be found. So I was surprised that that our new prime minister made these changes right away. And let's get your comments. Igor's going to be joining me in a little bit. I want to show you guys something here right off the bat. Oops, let's pull our friends off of here so we can see. So you can go online to the House of Commons, their actual government website. But my good buddy Igor here, lightning fast, turned around a blog post on our brand new minister here. And now that Mark Carney has kind of shuffled the cabinet, now that he's prime minister, I guess that's what you do. Personally, I would have hoped that there would have been an election called, but Minister Bendayan, Igor did a blog post that we will be talking about today. This is going to be a really quick one because I'm supposed to be in a vehicle driving down to Idaho to see my kids. But at any rate, we will have a little bit more information to share. Igor put this blog post together very quick on the new minister, and hopefully we can get some idea as we dissect things a little bit more carefully as to what her positions might be, whether there will be any significant changes, whether things will change at all. So as we bring back our ministers here, and like I said, I'm going to pull Igor in. So Minister Miller, thanks. It's been a good ride, and we will disappear you, and we will keep the new minister in. And I want to hear your comments. So let's pull some of them up here. I'm going to adjust this so that we've got room for the minister as well as you guys. Okay, so Yaw says a new dawn. Spider-Man says hi from Montreal. You bet. Sarab says your best buddy is gone. You know, let's pull Minister Miller up. Okay, and this is where I'm going. I want to try to qualify a few things because it's really easy to find someone as a scapegoat and then just blame them for everything that's wrong. So one thing I want to point out here with Minister Miller before we say goodbye to him for forever, he stepped into a portfolio, guys, which was awful. So basically, Minister Fraser had made all these announcements. Him and Minister Mendocino had basically opened the doors to allow many, many international students in, which created a lot of the problems that then fell onto Minister Miller. So in fairness to Minister Miller, I recognize that he had a really tough job because he was the bad cop coming in. After the good cops were all loving roses, he had to come in and say, look, we made mistakes. We're trying to correct it. So under his watch, he basically had to step in and take one for the team. He did. And there was, when there was criticism over all the decisions, including the most recent one, the out of status construction workers, I think that was a horrible decision to do that in the climate we're in right now. Like it's not fair to have so many people that you're expecting to just leave because their legal status is running out and that they won't, just stay illegally, and then to reward other people with direct pathways to permanent residence because they work in, a trade or construction. Like just poor decision. But in fairness, okay, Minister Miller, I wish he would have come on and talked to me. I wish he would have shared his thoughts, but those days are gone. And Minister Miller, I truly wish you all the best. All right, so back to our new minister here. Like I said, Igor's got a great blog post, so definitely you want to go check that out. We'll make sure we put it in the link, but it's pretty easy to find it if you. Boy, we got a bunch of stuff going on here. It's pretty easy to find it, and I'm just waiting for Igor to join me. That's why I've got that open space below me here. This blog post that Igor did goes in depth into just a whole bunch of not only her background, but where we kind of think she might side on particular issues. Yeah, and then if we go here and we look at how to get here, just go to our website, which is Healthy Immigration Law here. Just click on blogs and resources, go to our blog, and then here you'll see the new minister right here. What do we know and basically what to expect? So check that out. And like I said, Igor should be joining me here shortly. So let's get a few comments in here. And yeah, Marc Miller, scapegoat, you bet. All right, we got Igor. Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in here. Just give me a second, Igor, and we'll pull you in. All right, we'll get you lined up there. I think you're mostly lined up. Welcome. Good to have you here with us.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mark.
Igor was just frantically getting it up and running, so we appreciate you doing that. And let's slide you over here, and then I'll, excuse me, I'm also going to pull Igor in here as we just talk about his post. So let's see, I'll get you adjusted here. This is what we have to do before we go live, but when we go live, we actually then have to, there we go. We have to make some adjustments on the fly, so we'll do that. There we go. There we go. Now he's a little bit better situated there. Okay, so Igor, we've got a brand new minister, and what are your initial thoughts? Like, is she going to just follow suit with what Minister Miller has done? Like, can people expect that she's going to come in and magically reverse all of the things that were happening previously? Or is she just going to follow suit? Is she just there as a placeholder till the election and nothing more is going to come from it? Like, what are your thoughts?
So we're still learning. We're still trying to figure out who the new minister is, what she's known for. We know that she is of Jewish and American heritage, that she was an active advocate for the reduction of guns, and she was also an avid advocate for expansion of humanitarian programs and housing initiatives. And so when assessing the new minister, we also have to assess the new prime minister as well. So it's two people that have to be looked at in a tandem. And based on what we see right now is the trend to reduction in the number of temporary residents and permanent residents will continue. And essentially, it does look like it's just going to be the same thing, just in a little bit different way, like managed in a little bit different way. We don't know yet how different it will be, but I think the trends will continue, at least until the new elections. And we don't know when they are coming. So we would anticipate that the newly elected, not elected, that's the point, not elected, the newly appointed prime minister will call election soon. But to me, it looks like that might not be happening, at least for the next couple of months. And so I think he will just continue with the same trend as Justin Trudeau and his Minister of Immigration. We know that Rachel Bendayan, she has law degree and she has some background working in the legal field. And hopefully that will just give a little more structure to what's going on, a little thoughtful presentation as to how to use that.
Just give me 1 second, Igor. I'm just going to add you in here. And then we're going to make room. This is a constant state of adjustment here, you guys. My apologies here as we get things all sorted out. So I just wanted to bring the minister back in, and there we go. And we'll just stick her right down here. There we go. She can join us. So basically, one thing Igor, we have to realize is that with Mark Carney, our new prime minister, all of this is designed for full election purposes. It's as much political as it is anything else. Now, she worked at Norton Rose. We've got some colleagues and friends that I know that also worked with her there. From what I know, she's quite a nice and personable person. And, when you look at her background, you look at her history, you can go to a number of different locations, including if we go here to Wikipedia, It gives you a little bit of a rundown on her background and what she's done and kind of her path. You can also go here to, like I said before, to the House of Commons, their website, and you can track everything that has happened with her. You can see where she sits in the House of Commons. You can go all the way down to the bottom here, and you can see when basically as she worked her way through, you can see how everything unfolded with her. So all the things that she's been involved in, obviously even how you can contact her, but essentially the roles that she's filled and all roles this member has held as a member of parliament. You can go down and you can see everything from the beginning. So if we go way back here to the beginning, in 2015, she took a run at the riding that she's in, Outremont, and she lost to Thomas Mulcair, who was then the head of the NDP Liberal Party. The NDP party, and then he resigned shortly after that. I think it was 2018 or something. And so then they had a by-election, and then she was elected, and she's been reelected ever since. So you can't be reelected over and over again unless your constituents feel like you're doing a good job. But one of the realities for our new minister here is that her position here is really it's like she's in a holding pattern. So she's part of this image now that the Liberal Party is trying to portray, that they are trying to get rid of the glut that has been in Parliament. So I think, as you see, the number of ministers and things have been shrunk. They've been reduced down. And so fewer MPs, fewer ministers. They're trying to show that there's less government. Does this sound familiar to you, Igor? Like, these are all of the talking points of the Conservative Party. And, a lot of the things, scrapping the carbon tax, all of these things that they're now doing, what are you, Liberal government? Like, what are you, Liberal Party? I'm trying to understand what you are, because even the steps that have been taken by our previous minister, Marc Miller, to get people out, which now this is, and I hope that our new minister, I really truly hope that that Minister Bendayan knows what she's got herself into. And I don't even know if previous Minister Marc Miller knew what he was doing, because literally he was the scapegoat, and everything that was bad, all the bad decisions all fell on his shoulders. And so now they need to try to purge, right, prior to the election. And Igor, I wouldn't be surprised if we do have an election in a couple of weeks, because they've made this change. This is optics. And now from here, we'll see where it goes. But I've had some comments. I actually reached out to a number of my friends to see if they knew anything about the new minister. And they found her to be nice and personable. She's a good human being. She comes from an immigrant family, a minority community. As you could see from the Wikipedia, like her background, it says that she worked as a lawyer. It talks about those kinds of things. Let's see, is it the cabinet one? So here you can see this is the actual cabinet. So you can scroll down and let me share my screen here. Sorry guys, I'm talking and not sharing my screen. Let's move the minister away. So she's had a wide variety of different roles. They describe her as a mother and deeply engaged member of a community, which is true. Everything that I've read and seen about her is that she's committed to what she's doing, and she's a bright, intelligent person. But at the end of the day, I think she's just kind of like in a holding pattern is the best way I can describe it. And that as we go forward here, there isn't really going to be any big major announcements unless it's something to do with Trump and the tariffs and all of these things that are going on. I don't know if there's going to be really anything we're going to see while she is in this position, but she's been around. She's not brand new, but she's definitely she's kind of a sleeper in the back. We haven't really heard much of her at all. So in your preparations for your blog post, Igor, that we have over here, tell me, maybe you can just give our viewers just a few highlights. I'll get to the actual post here. Give the viewers a little, some of the highlights that you found were interesting and where you think she may sit with some of these issues.
It's very hard to tell. It's also a little bit controversial. So the new minister has a Jewish and Moroccan background, which I think will have an impact on how Canada's policies towards the crisis in the Middle East play out.
Mm-hmm.
I would suspect that we would see an expansion of the special measures for Israeli and Palestinian residents who may be destined to Canada. Um, let's see what else. I have to be honest. Like it's very hard to predict.
Mm-hmm.
In about 10 minutes that I had to do research, it's very hard to find some answers towards what's going to happen. But my thoughts is first they will continue with the same trajectory as Marc Miller. They will not do a flip. They will not expand immigrations and reopen the borders and again start attracting people like we seen in 2018, 2020, and so on. So that's first. Second, I think they will continue on with a trend to attract more people who can build houses. Mark Carney identified that housing crisis is one of the most acute issues that we are facing. And yeah, you can see here we had much higher level of foreign workers, students, and new Canadians coming in that we could absorb. But at the same time, housing is something that is on the priority list. So I think she will continue on trying to expand those policies. At the same time, I don't see like sometimes you would see a new minister and you would say, oh, lots of things will change. I don't see that happening, at least in the next couple of months. If we have new elections, I probably would suspect to see someone else as a new minister after the elections. So to me, it looks like a temporary kind of appointment. At the same time, like when people think about liberal immigration policies and conservatives, and people are afraid that if let's say Pierre Poilievre gets elected and he will completely shut down immigration, completely, which is a little bit questionable. Like you have to remember that expert entry was introduced by conservatives, and like I think overall, even if we look down south of the border, sometimes unexpectedly more right parties they expand immigration more than left. We had more deportations from the U.S. in times of Obama than we had with Donald Trump, even though the media presents it in a different light. Same here. I think we have more opportunities for skilled workers with the conservatives in power. But again, this reflects just my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard to predict what's going to happen. But I think what we've seen right now is completely imbalanced immigration system that liberals are now trying to solve with the strategies proposed by the conservatives. And so I think, like, regardless of who's the next prime minister, things will not be as bright as many people would wish.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think we're going to see less immigrants in the next couple of years, regardless whether that's liberal or conservative prime minister.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out, and I'm just going to shift over here and we'll drop the minister off again. Okay, so just so everybody understands what's happening here, and we've got quite a few viewers that are watching. So the Liberal Party had their leadership, race. Marc Carney, our now Prime Minister of Canada, was the front runner right from the beginning. So it didn't matter who else was running, he was going to win, full stop. He had, all the support. He's been involved with Justin Trudeau and his government in the background for a number of years. And he was basically the heir apparent. So that's kind of how this works. Whenever a new leader comes in, you guys, they have to dissociate themselves from the previous guy and set up their own team so that there's a fresh start. One of the things that he did, which it's interesting because he was literally behind Trudeau, so I don't know how much you can dissociate yourself. So you have to do something drastic to make the appearance look like you're going to be doing things differently. Ultimately, I'm not sure if there's going to be any changes in how the government is run, but we do know right now that the first thing he did was to reduce the number of these folks here. in the cabinet. And so as you go through here, the overall numbers, you can see Chrystia Freeland, she's Minister of Transport and International Trade, right? As you slide down here, Marc Miller's nowhere to be seen. Our previous immigration minister, Mendicino, let's see, what is he? Is he the chief of staff? I can't remember what he is for Mark Carney, but he's working closely with Mark Carney, who was our former immigration minister. And as we scroll down here, we finally get to the Honorable Rachel Bendayan, who is now our immigration minister. But the reality is, you guys, one of the main purposes of all of this shuffling and restructuring is to basically inject some new life into what appears to be just this quagmire of mess, and to try to set up the appearance, real or perceived, that we've got this under control and we've got a plan going forward and we're going to fix this. What you can't ignore is the fact that it is the Liberal Party that got us here. And the same people that got us here are the same people, by and large, that are still there. So it was, I have no issues with Minister Bendayan. I'm sure that she's capable and can do as good a job as anyone else. Her background, when you go and you look at all the things that she's done, the things that she's been a part of, the roles that she's played. If I slip back here, and I know, Igor, you're talking about it as well, let's just maybe shrink her down just a little bit here, and she can kind of join us on the side here a little bit. But essentially, when you look at the things that she's done, she's been involved in a lot of foreign affairs, international development. Like if we go back right to the beginning and just skim through this quick, my wife's going to be, I'm going to be in trouble here, but that's okay. You can see all the things internationally that she has been involved in. So this is the election. And then right off the bat, Canada-France Interparliamentary Association, NATO Parliamentary Association, delegation on the cooperation in Europe, Canada-Europe Parliamentary Association. So you can see a lot of international affairs. She's been involved with those. And, so ultimately there is an element of background. It's not like she's coming from a position of complete, dissociation from this role. So, like we said, her family comes from a family of immigrants herself. And so she's been in a number of these different interparliamentary groups, Europe and, especially status of women, finance. Obviously everybody, I think, was a member of the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, international trade. Lots of international trade, international relations. So it's not a stretch for her to be chosen to do this. It's just, we haven't heard anything about her. So it's silent. So anyways, I know we've got a lot of people that have posted a lot of comments, and, I'd like to get to everybody's comments for sure, but, Igor, I am going to be in trouble. So, so I think I better wrap this up. Igor and I'll definitely direct you guys back to the blog post to get our takes on kind of where we think she's, going to be headed. But at this stage, I don't think this is going to be as drastic of an impact or have as drastic an effect on immigration as we think. Typically, when we have new ministers, I think that there's going to be an election sooner rather than later. At first, I thought, well, maybe they're just going to sit tight and then wait till the following, the fall to do the election, stretch it out as long as they can to kind of regain their form. But I think this is as much optics as anything, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. Any last comments before we shift?
One comment is that whenever you read the blog post, don't think that this is an assessment based on the policies that were already announced. It's just the opinion. And again, it's just a speculation, essentially, based on what we already know and what we see probably might be happening. Again, we cannot predict. Mark often pulls up the crystal ball, but this is essentially what we do know, is we're trying to guess. Based on what we've seen in the past, likely the trajectory will continue.
I'm just going to pull up a few comments here. So Kate believes that the lower the language requirements for Francophone category, well, I don't know how much lower they can get other than saying you get 50 points for a CLB 5 versus a 7. But I don't think too many of those changes are going to happen. The Francophone mobility work permit is a 5 right now. I don't think those are going to change. I don't think her being in that role is going to change how the party is is positioning itself with respect to Francophone immigration, especially that outside of the province of Quebec. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. Let's see. As far as other pieces of information, well, let's pull up some more comments here before I wrap it up. So Paji says, such a relief. Winner says, can you share the link to the blog post? All you have to do, just so you guys know, if in the link below, you'll be able to click on speak to a lawyer. I can't remember the links that I have below, but it'll take you back to our website, holthylaw.com. Then you can go to blog and resources. And when you click on our blog right here, you can get to Igor's blog post right here. Okay.
And Mark, I've added the link to the description.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. Okay, perfect. So the link is in the description here as well. Let's see. Vulcan says this could mean good news or bad news. Sure. Like, we don't know for sure. Umair says, any ease expected for people stuck in comprehensive security? No, this isn't going to have a direct impact on the actual processing of applications. It takes time for a new minister's impact to be felt in the actual operational side of things. Okay, this individual says Liberals will continue to create a mess of immigration. And Danielle says on X, thanks for connecting in, Danielle. He says, it's not too early to start creating expectations and theories of what the new minister will be doing. Well, no, it's never too early. And that's kind of what we're doing. So you look at your history, you look at her role. Has she said anything in the past, right? Has she been involved in anything that would, has she publicly sided with any particular issue that's contentious? Those are some of the things that we try to look at, but really, there hasn't been a lot. That's why I say she's kind of a sleeper in the back, because really we haven't seen too much of her out there. Devinder says, Marc Miller, great. I don't know if that's great or great that he's gone, or I don't know. But definitely he's been the scapegoat. Hello, now that there is a new PM, will the elections happen in October as planned, or will it happen earlier? I'm kind of siding on the earlier, you guys. And then Shirley says, so that explains Miller's 11,000 French draws. Well, she's her riding is in Quebec. I don't know. Okay, let's see. We've got some other questions here.
The question, the comment from Armin is my favorite.
We're not quite there yet, I don't think. Okay, what's going to happen with the LMA points now? Business as usual, you guys. Business as usual. Sahil election fall 2026. Not this year. It has to be this year, guys. It has to be. So definitely it can't be anything later. Okay, Armin says, Mark, any plan for running for the immigration ministry? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. You saw how our poor Minister Miller took it on the teeth. Man, with my comments, which have been somewhat opinionated, oh, yeah, I would be a perfect person for a headline in the mainstream media, for sure. So definitely not going to happen, you guys. Okay, Hale says that's the real question. Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in. Like I said, we'll definitely have more as we learn more. But right now, the most important thing to understand is, if I shift back here, is that this cabinet shuffle right now this has been for election purposes as much as anything else. We do not anticipate any substantive changes to immigration policy. In fact, once the election's called, maybe in a couple weeks, then there won't be anything happening as everybody turns to their ridings trying to get reelected. I don't see a world, it seems like she's quite popular in her riding. So I don't anticipate, at least for her, that, maybe if there was another election that she wouldn't win, but you just don't know what's happening. We just don't know. So thanks for jumping on for this very short one. I've got a family that is anxiously waiting for me to grab my stuff and get in the vehicle and drive down to the States to see my son. We are going to meet our new future in-laws. So this is kind of an important trip, but thanks for jumping on, everyone, this lovely Friday, as always.